Okay, so you're being very. It's definitely an improvement on what I saw, and you've definitely got much better sense of what you're doing, and I'm feeling like you're explaining yourself much better. So that's great.
Right.
Take care to just take it one stage further. So you're making a statement and then you're leaving it hanging. So one of my favorite things you'll see when you see my comments on your assignment are things like, okay, tell me more. Okay, and so why are you telling me this? So why is this interesting or important? So you're just saying the managerial hierarchy here shows the meeting is led by a woman sitting in the centre chair at the back end of the table. All the others are team members. Well, again, be a little bit careful here because we have no idea. This could be an interview. It could be just say I'm interpreting this in this way. The leadership position, and then you just immediately jump to leadership positions. 23% of executive positions are held by women. And in this image, the leadership position with the woman shows the inclusion of women in leadership roles and trust. That's three separate issues, but there's no argument or explanation that connects them together.
Well, it's the word count is really tying everything because it's hard to expand the discussion while on 1,000 words.
But if you put less points in and you explain them better, you will get higher marks than just providing a list of bullet points.
Because I was trying to provide as much points as from what I see.
More explanation, more critical depth.
Okay, then I was just worried that having less points or less of what I saw in the pictures might decrease the marks as.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely with this assignment. I'm looking for your interpretations of elements of the image. There's many things. We will all see something different in these images.
Yeah.
And there's always lots to say, and you could write a whole book about some of this stuff. So the key thing to say is I'm focusing on these aspects because I'm going to argue this. And then or make it clear that although there are many interpretations or many features I could focus on, such as, and then maybe you want to list a couple or some, for this essay, I'm going to focus on hierarchy and leadership because this is where women are least represented in contemporary workplaces. So you've given me a justification why you're being selective. And then you've got much more scope to say more and go into more critical depth about the points that you're making.
So, less points with details better than many points with few details.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, that will be.
Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Covering a lot here.
So I've got here.
Yeah, and it's like you can almost imagine we could almost put each one of those, almost every sentence as a sort of bullet point in itself. It's almost like a set of notes. So there'll be lots of good points that you make, but in order to get the credit for the thinking, I want to see why are those points interesting or important?
Okay.
Yeah, and you will need to say less. Make less points.
Right, I will focus on that point. So this is the rest of it. There's any other points here? Or?
Let me have a look. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're making the same point in different ways. So I've just looked at the disability one and the ethnic minority one. You're saying the same thing. This image is a good representation of this. It's very surface level. What I want you to do is to look at you look at the features of the image and perhaps just say things in more, just in going beyond the obvious. So that does it epitomizes the harmonious coexistence of different racial and gender identities. Is that realistic in the workplace? What are some of the problems with assuming that's the case? What are some of the downsides? Is this what am I trying to say? Is it ignoring or it's simplifying and
yes.
I'm trying to think of the word. I'm trying to say ignoring, I guess, all of the traumatic harassment, discrimination, inequality that actually Asian women at work face, or black men at work face, or whatever it is you want to say. You're just staying at that very descriptive surface level. I want you to get critically inside each of these issues, but obviously you can't do that for all of them. So I would suggest choosing one of these points to expand on. And of course you could talk about intersectionality as well, so that you could bring in other characteristics, but you don't have to do that very in any depth, really, just to show that actually the experiences of all women or all men or all disabled people are not equal. There are intersections that mean that there are compounded systems of disadvantage and privilege as well. So can you see what I mean about being more sophisticated? Yeah. So the fact that everyone appears to be engaged and attentive, inclusive environment, all voices are valued. Great. That's what that suggests. Now tell me the detail. Is this realistic? Is this what happens? What do we know about microaggressions in the workplace and subtle things in meetings where people are talked over? And
Micro what? Sorry, again?
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions, okay.
Yeah, you'll find a big literature on that. I talked mainly in the gender lecture, but it applies across the whole board. What you're doing is you're saying, what is this signifying about this workplace? That's not really what I want you to do. What I want you to do is saying, what impression of diversity and inclusion and equality does this image give off? I'm not really interested what actually happens at this organisation, because it's a stock image as well.
Yeah.
You could also mention that this is a constructed image to portray a particular purpose. The photographer has deliberately created this image for people to buy. So the stock image has almost a responsibility to portray the world in a way that might be useful. That makes sense. You'll find the paper on, did you read the Pritchard and Whiting paper on age and stock photos?
I have not. Is it a model?
Yeah, the visual analysis reading list I also used it in the lecture on visual analysis. The one about the older people searching for a job. So that has some really interesting arguments about stock images and how they work and some of the thoughts to do with that. So I think what you need to do is avoid trying to guess what this company is doing. That's not what I want you to do. What I want you to do is, this image is giving off an impression of equality, diversity and inclusion at work. And I want you to unpack that impression.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, because while writing, you feel like yourself you're just falling on that side, like I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So think about like some of the things I've said today. Things like it makes everything look so very harmonious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The colours. If we go back up to the image here, we've got everybody represented. Everybody's smiling and attentive and we know that this is just not true. So what it's doing is creating a veneer or a superficial understanding that this is an ideal type workplace. And also there's things that you haven't looked at here, such as the lighting, the way that the background is involved, the type of flooring, the colours, the framing, how are we positioned as a viewer in relation to the image? All of that gives off a particular impression. So it's very light and bright.
Yeah, the point of viewing is
as a bystander.
Yeah, I've mentioned the point of viewing.
You don't do anything with that point.
Sorry?
So you've just said we're a bystander. So, okay, so why is that necessarily significant or important? So don't leave your points hanging.
Okay. I'll just say, okay, yeah, we'll go back to it. Have we got here? I think this is final part here.
Okay. Yeah, so you've got here, this won't get you any marks. So things like presence of young team members, both men and women, of earnest demeanour, a testament to the enthusiasm and vitality of the next generation of workforce participants. It's just padding. There's nothing here that tells me about equality and diversity at work. Write about age discrimination. If you want to mention age, write about generational conflict, write about intergenerational sharing, write about the importance of an age positive workforce. Use the correct terminology, be sophisticated, use the module material, because some of this I think you could have written without ever studying the module.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? It's so general. It's what I would call a common sense interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
You have much more knowledge than that because you've been studying this module, and that's what I'm assessing. You're learning on this module.
Okay, then I'll take a look also on the reading list because I only checked the book, that first one. What's it called?
Gillian Rose's book. Okay, yeah. So there's considerable. There's a whole reading list on visual analysis.
Yeah, there's a long list. So.
Yeah. And you'll find you don't have to read everything, and you don't have to read all of everything. But if you have a look at everything, you'll just look at it and go, oh, that's interesting. That's okay. I'll use that. So I give you lots of sources so that you can draw what you need from each one as appropriate. So if you are writing about, if you want to each of those visual analysis studies has its own methodology. So you could get inspired about how other researchers have used visual analysis in their own work, for example, or written about, and when you're looking at their work, you can get ideas about how they've written about their subjects as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to read a lot.
We still have consolidation, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You've got plenty of time.
Yeah,
plenty of time.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you.
Okay. Good luck.